Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name is Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
And this is the show where we say happy 400th birthday to the F1's favourite rookie, Fernando Alonso.
Oh, finally. When was the
400
last
years
time he
old.
won a
He doesn't
race?
look a day over 300.
We're going to move into a point. You know what would have been really good? Because he won his last World Championship in what, 2001? Is that right?
No.
No, when did he win it? Didn't he win his last World Championship
5 and
years
6?
ago? 05 and 06.
2005 and 6. Yeah, because like Michael Schumacher was 2000 to 2004, and he was
Yeah,
the
sorry,
two
yeah,
after
of
that.
course. Why did I think 2001? That's
They
so
call
weird.
me Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, sure. So we're
A
almost
while ago.
It's 20 years. It's going to be great when we can be
Oh,
like, hey,
this is the anniversary. We should get him something.
what do you get a man who's got everything? You know?
What do you get? What's the 20-year anniversary of your last major
Well,
success?
Yeah. Whoa. That's harsh, but fair. And that's our show motto here. Harsh but
That's
fair.
why we do it.
That's why we do it. What can you remember an achievement from 20 years ago for yourself? Really stumped
This
you.
year, 2024. I mean, like moving into my first share
2024.
house
There we go.
20 years ago this
Yeah.
year, probably. Yeah,
Nice
so
one.
around then.
Yep. Yeah. I think I was
You?
still at school, so
Right? Man, I don't know. 20 years
Throw
ago, I was
nothing
barely even
down.
conceived, probably crawling around, learning
Yeah,
the
me.
alphabet, Rod, because I'm
God,
young.
yeah, Rod. Yeah, exactly. No, it was probably something like making sure I did the readings for my year 11 literature class. That was my achievement. I read all the books before school
That is
came
an
back from
achievement.
holidays.
For me, when I was at uni, the big achievement was buying the books, and that counted for more than actually reading them. Because if you bought them, it was like good enough.
But do people
partial
even
credit.
buy the books anymore? They mustn't, right? They must just all be digital or a bit of both.
There was a period where they were like, we really want you to read this. We've
Mm.
just printed out the right chapters. Here you go.
Yep.
Read
Here you
those.
go. Do the reading. Yeah, I think that's about right. But we're not here to talk about past glories,
We're not?
Rod. We're here to talk
No,
about
this is an F1
future
show.
glories.
We're
Yeah.
going to be talking about. We're not going to be talking about Fernando Alonso, I guess, because that's covered. Done. Tick. We're going to be talking about some of the most recent races. This is sort of a bit more racy, I've noticed. Like, I mean, not
Ooh.
racy in that way, but like
racing's good.
maybe. But maybe.
The racing's really good. I think so.
The
I
racing
think
has been top notch, and the situation in the year is shaping up extremely well. But there's lots to talk about as well. We promise not to just talk all about one thing for 1 hour as well. That's the other. That's the super license promise.
Yeah.
We've got a few things about drivers, a few things about races, and all sorts of other miscellaneous F1 things to talk about. But before that, Zach. Before that.
Yeah.
Snack check. So do you remember last show? I had a thing that I did. It was a snack that we
Yeah,
checked
it was
on.
the Oreo Coca-Cola. I saw it
It was the
myself in
Oreo
the supermarket this
Coca-Cola.
week.
It was the Coca-Cola, and it was flavored, Oreo flavored Coca-Cola. And do you remember what I said at the time?
Disgusting. Don't buy it.
Yes. The other thing I said is, you know what they also make
Yeah.
is Coca-Cola flavored Oreos. And man, I wish I had them both.
Uh-huh.
Well, fucking
And?
hell, look what I've got here.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I saw the thing you had, and we were in the supermarket, and Amber, my wife, was like, who's her own person, she was like, hey. I knew I'd get you with one.
You got
eventually.
me.
Yep. Look, Zach, this is amazing. Look at this thing. I was like, I don't need to try it. I've got it from a good source that it's not great.
I don't need to taste it myself. I've heard another guy say words about it.
Yeah, a guy, similar guy, just a guy like me.
Some dude.
Whose opinion I trust, especially when it comes to the snack front. Back in the day when this podcast first started, coming to Rod's house to watch Formula One race, fucking all about those Mars bar pods. I mean, there was hell yeah, there was some good.
I still
snacks
smash the pods.
Yeah, of course. But I'm here for Coca-Cola Oreo. How
But you
big are
hate
these
that
Oreos? They look small.
They are. I mean, I don't know if this is standard Oreo size these days. They feel small, but
Looks
they
like a
might
small
not be.
cookie.
Maybe I'm just getting bigger. I have been eating more.
Good. Keep up the strength.
Straight away, I can smell Coke though. I mean, this is
Really?
more of a Coke flavored experience than the Coke was an Oreo flavored experience.
It's Coke.
But
Coke's the bully in the room.
I really do wish we had both at the same time, but this is the nearest I can get. So anyway, should I crack in?
Yeah,
All
please.
in one go?
I'll describe what's happening. So he's holding it to
you
his
can
mouth.
just-
Yeah, he's almost. He's being very teasy with it. Oh, he's put it all in between his teeth and has sucked it in with his tongue. I'm assuming brought it past the breach and is really chewing down now. No immediate facial responses. For those of you who follow at home, this is a very similar show format to Things I Bought at Sheets with Dwight and Justin McElroy, where he would describe something that Dwight had bought and as he eats it. And here I'm going to describe Rod, who looks satisfied, I would say. Hard to read the face, but not an immediate look of concern. So, Rod, tell me, what are you feeling?
They've only bloody gone and done it. This is a Coca-Cola flavored Oreo cookie.
No. And is that a good... I mean, there was no question that they could, but should they do that? You want me to keep vamping because you've shoved another one in your gob.
I can tell you exactly how all these meetings went down. The Oreo, the geniuses at the Oreo flavor factory invented this. And they went, we are on a fucking winner. All we needed to do is get Coke involved.
Get Coke.
We're going to sell we're all going to be millionaires.
Yeah.
And then they talked to Coke and they went, we have a great idea. Let's make Oreo flavored Coke and let's cross promote this. And the Oreo people were like, oh, this is sort of
goes that way. Yeah.
This is by far the better way to do it. Like, I don't know what the consensus is on TikTok about both of these flavors and whether one's better than the other, but the super license position is officially Coca-Cola flavored Oreos. That's the way to do it.
I don't think they miss at Oreo. I don't think they do. There's never been an Oreo flavor I've tried and gone, that doesn't work. I think they've got a really tight standard for what they want to ship.
On lock.
Yeah. I would almost say Tim Tam is a similar conceit. There's very rarely do I taste a Tim Tam variation that I'm like, oh, you fucked it, guys. It's usually a good push.
Tell me about some Tim Tams you've had that weren't the standard ones.
Definitely remember like a Black Foresty one. Maybe around a Christmas, something like that, that had a bit of cherry and stuff. And not my favorite flavor, but still delicious. I am of the belief that double coat should be standard and they should get rid of standard Tim Tam and just double coat should be the new standard. That's a better biscuit, a better cookie, and that should be how it is. I like a salted caramel. The regular caramel's fine, but the salted caramel, I saw a great joke about this the other day, that poor caramel sitting there being like, what the fuck happened? Every salted caramel comes along, it's the same, but with a bit of salt. And now nobody wants regular caramel. They just want salted caramel. I think that's fair. Yeah, just a little bit of Salt Bae on there. And that's all I can remember at this moment in time.
That's not bad.
Pretty good, I would say. For me, what I want to know about the Oreo company is, though, the advice has never been dip it in Coca-Cola, your Oreo.
That's true.
It has always been dip it in milk. So if they were hiding this from us, are they all sitting there in Oreo HQ constantly going, if only there was a way to get this flavor into this. Right?
We've all had that friend who was like, I've got a great idea. Let's mix Coke and milk.
Yeah. Which, look, I am a big advocate for a drink called Calpis or Milkus, depending on which country you're in, which is a carbonated lactose soda that you can get in Japan or Korea, depending on which brand you enjoy more. It comes in a variety of flavors. It is an odd thing coming from Western country to have a carbonated milk drink, but by God, is it good. And I think that it harkens back to an age where we did have like cream sodas. That's what they were. Like a cream soda was a milky, soda-y carbonated drink. We're just too young. Well, maybe me, I am. I don't know what you were drinking in 2004, but I certainly wasn't.
I don't mind a creamy soda, but a milk carbonated drink, I just feel like the balance is a bit off. Like,
okay.
By the time it's flipped over to being a carbonated milk drink, I'm like, nah.
No, I don't want my milk carbonated. Take that cow off the shakerizer. I get it.
So flavored Oreos.
Yes.
I'll give you 5 stars.
Okay. If I see them in the supermarket this week, I will buy them and eat them all.
Pick those up.
Yep. You've had 2. How do you feel? Like, are you going to go back for more on the show? Do you think?
I'm not going to lie. Taking every bit of my being not to grab that packet and have another one, but I won't because I know. I think chewing on the mic is funny, but not everybody does. Should we talk about some Formula One stuff?
Please, yeah.
I'm happy to start wherever you want, even though I've got this one story at the very top, at the tippy top.
I want to start there because let me put this out in front of you as an intro to this story, right? We're going to talk Norris, Verstappen, and whatever FIA stands for is the shortened version of. Is that Fiastri? You made a mistake there. So let me lay the thinking, because I think someone brought this up that I really like. It was on Threads or Twitter, or maybe it was you. Who knows? Are we back to 2021, Max Verstappen? has he gone through an arc, and had he fooled us all by being very good and in a very good car when everyone else was crap, into thinking that he's a nice guy who's learnt his lessons, he's a fair racer, and then as soon as somebody came up and was like, "Hey, maybe I'll win now," he was like, "No," and just reverted back to his 2021 elbows out. The rules are for my making and not for my obeying.
I guess it'd be easy to just say he never changed. It's just that when he was dominating, he had no car to drive into. But I
He
guess
was cutting corners the whole time. There was just no one there.
the thinking, I guess, would go, was he that ruthless because he hadn't proven himself, and that maybe after 3 world championships he felt within himself that he might have proven something. But obviously it's clear that no, he hasn't gotten it out of his system. He's still, I mean, his brain is just wired that way. So there's no changing him, there's no taming him. You can only race him and then apparently change the rules when you don't like it.
It's a common refrain, right? That this is what you need to be a world champion. That all the world champions have this. They'll all drive someone off the road if it means they can win, or if the other person can lose. That's often the maths, I think, right? That as long as the other guy loses, it's worth doing.
Yes.
If you're in a winning position, which Max Verstappen is right now, right? He can afford to lose points as long as Norris loses points. He's not winning any fans, though. I've been surprised by how much outcry there has been against Max, considering he's kind of been the golden boy for kind of 4 years. And maybe that's the algorithm for me. Maybe I liked a couple of videos, and maybe now it's like, hey, here's the anti-Max agenda. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same thing. Your reaction makes me feel like that is not true.
I was never seeing the golden boy thing.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I know what you mean there. Maybe I've overblown that a little bit, a touch. But
think about how long ago it was that everybody was like, fuck Max Verstappen. I want Lando Norris to win this thing. I don't care if he's 200 points behind.
Yes.
Like,
no, I think
I've been living in that bubble.
You've been living that reality.
For like the last feels like a year.
Yeah, no, Lando Norris is definitely the darling. I think it's tricky for pundits because they like both of them. And that has been the agenda, right? That Max was the up and comer, and then we had to get behind Max. And then Norris is British, and that's good. So let's get behind him, especially here and on the Sky feed. So I don't want to get sucked into the bias of the UK. Like, everyone knows that. It's fine. It's standard. When we watch Australian cricket back home in the summer, that's what it's like watching Australian cricket too.
Sure. There's so much that I've had to deal with online lately of just like clearly Lando Norris fans who would just say and just think anything as long as it justifies Lando Norris can do no wrong. And then for Max Verstappen fans, exactly the same. Max Verstappen pulls some of the most blatant fouls, and then everyone's like, bloody FIA, classic. If you're not British, you get a penalty. And I'm like, mate, that's not it. Now, I would wager money that you and I agree on the penalties that Verstappen got last race in Mexico, that they were completely justified, right?
Yes.
What I'm not sure about is what you make of the penalty that he got in COTA at the United States. What did you make of that? Because, I mean, I was pretty out there with my opinions, but...
That's a really tricky question, because I think it's colored by... At the time, I thought the racing was... I think that Max... The consistency between his actions is there. Like, that I think he thinks that he can send it, and as long as they both go off the track, then he should be allowed to stay in front. And I think it's this kind of the same behavior that he's exhibited kind of all the time. And I think that the penalty, I think it's true that the penalties not changed, but I think their approach to Max was like, all right, that's enough of that. Let's give you some penalties now. And I think that all this malarking around, like, who was just in front at the apex and da. I think the penalties this weekend were essentially a slap on the wrist, not a slap on the wrist, like a slap on the head, probably, for like, stop driving like that.
Retribution, or like it sends a message that we're not going to let you keep getting away with it.
Yeah, stop doing that thing because everyone's seeing it now.
Stop doing that.
Exactly.
It's like he was, I'm just going to do this. And if you're going to penalize me, but I'm going to do it. And they're like, well, if you're going to do it, you're going to get penalties.
Tell me about your feelings on COTA then, because I prevaricated. You tell me your very clear feeling then.
I mean, like, all right. So I watched the race live. I saw
Mhm.
the incident. I watched the replay, and I put on threads straight away. Lando Norris is going to get a penalty for leaving the track,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
that's what happened. And I went,
Yep.
"Told you."
See, that's the rule. Yep.
And then afterwards on the SkyPad, they were like, "Yeah, look, you can see how this went that way." So I was like, "Well, that's it." Started dusting my hands,
Mm.
and then the whole freaking world went into meltdown. No, you can't do that because this is Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen. Can't you tell that he had wheels off and blah blah blah
Mm.
blah blah? So I mean, I was just kind of like stepping back, like, you guys go and have your meltdown because I'm not interested.
Mhm.
But I thought that, I mean, people can argue it was right. People can argue it was wrong. Go ahead. I'm so over it. I don't care anymore. But I didn't think that it was an outrageous call by the stewards because Norris did overtake off track and
Mhm.
then went off down the road. So he sort of had to be penalized. Now, that doesn't mean that Max's intention wasn't exactly the same as it was in
Yeah.
Mexico,
Yeah.
but it's not just the intention that matters, it's the execution. So if you do it within the rules,
Mm.
you just kind of don't have a leg to stand on anymore. So
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like it. No one's saying you have to like it. But if
Mm.
it's within the rules, it's within the rules. That's kind of it. You can't just penalize someone on vibes. That's my take.
You're so not. I'm pretty sure it's the philosopher Kant, right, that talks about virtue versus outcome, like utilitarianism versus intent. And yeah, Formula One doesn't really work on intent. I think we've probably had this same discussion 100 times on this show,
People would say
which
that
is
it does.
yeah, but it does, right? Because if your intent is that it's like, well, did you intend to crash into that guy? No, but I
Prove that
didn't.
I intended it.
But
That's a Max
I know
Verstappen.
also am experienced enough to know what happens if I put my car here. The other guy's
Yes.
going to have to move, so it's
Sure.
his fault if he crashes into me,
Yeah.
or it's a racing incident. It can't be my fault that he didn't get out of the way.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, where that is tricky for me is that I'm annoyed at how not savvy Lando Norris is. And I think that's what's going to prevent him. That's what he needs to get better at. Because I think Max Verstappen is incredibly savvy. I think he's an incredibly smart Formula One driver who has been bred to be like not the anti-hero, but the kind of like, I'm incredibly talented and in the best car, but I'm also the best like racecraft guy that I will win, or that is something I'm working hard on getting really good at and I will be better at than you. And I think that Lando Norris has made mistakes in his career that we can point to, whether it's like picking the wrong tires when it's raining, or like maybe not giving the best advice back to his team, or maybe not always getting along with his team in the best way. I think he's gotten much better at that. But he should have known. I overtook Max Verstappen off the track. I'm just going to give him that place back right this second, and I'm going to get him in one more minute, and I'm going to get that place back. I think better drivers who are more experienced do that in those circumstances. And yes, the team probably should have just said immediately, "Hey Max, sorry Max, hey Lando, give that place back right away."
Yeah.
But you know, he probably would have said no. If I know anything about Lando.
I think McLaren are nowhere. They don't know what they're doing. They are flailing so bad because, yeah, literally the team told him, like after the race, Andrea Stella said that he was asked, why didn't you tell Lando Norris to give their position back? And he said, because we thought Max was getting a penalty.
Yeah,
So we even told Oscar Piastri to speed up because we thought we might up jump. It's like, dude, you completely misread that. And I mean, I know 99% of the internet, especially the Lando Norris army, will say, no, we all agree. But it's like, all right, you go ahead and agree. But the rules are the rules. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, I'm really enraged at the behavior of McLaren because this penalty and this appeal that they, if you follow threads, you would have seen I posted it like 100 times about this, was built on absolutely nothing. It was a fucking joke. And I was just so mad that they even did it. That their justification, they had to introduce new evidence that proved that that the decision should be overturned. And their evidence was
flimsy as fuck.
Last time you got it wrong. And it's like, that's what the fuck?
I think they need to be seen to be doing it, right? This is the other thing, right? How many times in Formula One have teams done this where you have to be seen to be like challenging, because if you don't, then the feeling in amongst fans or teams is like, you'll just let the
Or in
FIA
Lando
walk all
Norris's
over you.
head.
Yeah.
If the team really supported me, they would do this, so they do it, potentially.
Mm.
But the other thing is, my feeling was always like, look, Max is either breaking the rules or he's not. And if the stewards are being inconsistent, fine, call it out. If the stewards are ruling one way that's in contradiction to the regulations, you can call that out too. And you know what else? If the rules are there to facilitate racing, and if you don't like the racing that it's facilitating, we can change the rules. We can do that. The rules are there for us. We're not there for the rules. They're there for us, right? So there's that. Now that said, let me just line up a couple of things for you.
Great.
Let's wind the clock back to Singapore. Lando Norris is sitting on fastest lap, going to win the race. Daniel Ricciardo pinches it from him to help out his mate, Max Verstappen. Days later, they announce, we're ripping that rule to shreds. There will be no more point for fastest lap because it hurt our favoured British boy, Lando Norris.
Okay.
Ben, that's one.
Okay. Noted. Entered into evidence.
Now there's this one decision in Austin where one penalty for Lando Norris that drops him a whole 1 second in the end behind Max Verstappen.
Perfectly dropped.
Let's change the driving regulations. Let's absolutely throw out the rule book. Let's rip it up and change it because it's unacceptable now. Despite the fact that it's been that way for many, many, many years. There's one incident that goes against Lando Norris. Let's change it. Let's change everything. Now look, if everybody feels that way, fine. Apparently they asked the drivers. They said, we're going to change it for next year. And then the drivers went, no, we want to change it now. Let's put it to a vote. 19 of the 20 drivers voted to change it right now. Guess which one didn't?
Fernando Alonso, he was asleep.
He was asleep because he's 400 years old.
He had a cup of tea and he's 40.
Again, my position is if everybody wants the rule changed, fine, change it. I got no problem with that. But it is like, it's like a little bit kind of like, how many of these fucking rules are we going to tweak and change because it hurt Lando Norris's feelings once? Like, it's maybe getting a bit crazy. And then this friggin' McLaren appeal, where they appealed that penalty based on absolute nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just think they're a joke.
What about all the stuff about the flimsy wings and stuff that Red Bull are coming under investigation for as well? That there's I think you can continue to pull things out. I think it's all good evidence. I think it's a cogent argument that the order of events, blow up, look at this thing, let's get it changed, to how quickly they are responding is maybe the only thing I can think to kind of argue against that would be that maybe these are things they were already thinking about, and then it was like, well, here's the moment, here's the thing that came up.
I'm
that's
glad
the
the
best
point for fastest lap is
interpretation.
going. I'm thrilled. God,
it was junk.
Why? It's suspicious that we're doing it because it hurt Lando Norris once.
I want to come back to the fastest lap thing because I think that they should have kept it, but in a different way. Right. It is weird. I don't think that Red Bull are in a particularly comfortable position in Formula One right now. I think that the Christian Horner stuff earlier this season was troubling. I think that they know that they've
Christian Horner stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Never heard of it. Can you tell me all about it?
I love that Helmut Marko just continues to dig himself a hole, and I don't think really anyone in Formula One really likes him. And it's somehow been why are you booing, right? Like that's Red Bull's whole energy is like, I'm the best. Why are you angry at me?
Boo Arco.
Yeah. I'm Boo Horner. They have this real complex about being like, but we played by your rules. We came in here, we made the best car, we got the best guys, we got the best talent, and you still don't like us. What's the problem here? And I think they had this little period where they were really well liked, I think, by the media and by Formula One, because it was like, great, you're having a big fight with Mercedes, it's on. And these last few years have been really fucking boring, and everyone wants to see it changed and different. And they've had this is the second time they'll think that, right? When Vettel was world-class and world champion, they were trying to change them, limit them, and whoever the amorphous blob of Formula One is, so yeah, it's just kind of fraught, which is such a shame, but it's also exactly why we like Formula One. Like, this has always been Formula One. It's always been make changes mid-season to limit advantage of certain teams. Ferrari somehow sitting back being like, you guys keep doing that and we'll just keep winning races, I guess. It's clear with us. We'll just keep turning up with two guys who are pretty good. And yeah, I think it's, especially as the fandom has gotten closer inside the sport through Drive to Survive and the level of exposure and access that we get to, I mean, fucking hell, Christian Horner appearing on TV with an iPad being like, hey, here's what I think went wrong. Like stuff like this. It's so up its own ass, this sport, and so in it, like inside its own self and so self-referential that it's just become too taxing for people. And so I think people just want the stories to be simpler, which is Max versus Lando on track and clear mistakes. And I think that at the last race, it was clear that Max Verstappen was being a bit crazy and everyone felt pretty justified by a 20-second penalty. I think it's a weird penalty to give. Like 20-second stop and go kind of is so close to being like disqualification without disqualification. Or
I mean, there were two incidents and you got 10 seconds each, which was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you're right. That is fine. It's just uncommon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's less common, obviously.
Yeah, it just doesn't really happen in those ways.
And there's normally one incident, and then there's the battle doesn't sort of carry on, but this one did.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely carrying on, and I don't know how much people care about it. So, yeah, I don't like this Max. I like it when he's fancy free, but it's fun for the sport. So I guess maybe I like the idea of it. What do you think? Do you think we need it? Is it improved having it this way? It annoys you.
Oh, I mean, it's better than having, first of all, it's better than having Max Verstappen just win like in a cakewalk, you know, but especially it's better that there's a chance that it may go down to the wire. I don't know that it will, but I mean, it's shaping, it's trending towards it tightening as we get closer to the end instead of the other way around. So both of those things are good. And I mean anyone other than Max, sure, that's great.
All we need is Norris and Verstappen to crash twice. And for Leclerc to win both those races, like crash into each other, and Leclerc gets 50 points. That puts him on 341.
I feel like you're moving on to the next point. If you want to do that.
Sorry, I don't mean to. Yeah, but
that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we done?
Let's move. Yeah, I think we're done. I think we like it. I think that we agree. I think that the sport.
I think you love Norris, and I could care less.
Exactly. I think we should just continue to change the sport to suit Norris and disadvantage Max Verstappen because no one likes it.
In fact, if we could change the name to Formula Norris, that would be perfect. Thank you, please. Please and thank you.
Putting the Riz back in Norris. Let's move on.
I don't know what you're looking forward to the end of this year, but I have so many things that I am like every night I lie in bed like this, hoping that these things happen. And I think there's a good chance that they're happening. You started to explain why, but let's go into a bit more detail. These are my low-key goals from now to the end of the year. Mine, as if I'm going to be able to affect any of these
Bring
things.
them into it. Bring them into wishcast them. Or what's it called when you, what's the secret do? Manifest. Exactly.
Yeah, I hang out on Threads. So Charles Leclerc is much closer to Lando Norris than Lando Norris is to Max Verstappen. And you know who's been winning races lately? Fucking Ferrari. 1 and 2,
man.
baby.
That's how they like to be referred to. As actually fucking Ferrari.
For fucking Rari. So I think there's a better than even chance. Leclerc could jump Norris for P2 and neither of them will catch Max. But what a story for Norris to finish P3 in the drivers.
I mean, it would be... I mean, it can't happen because we would have changed the rules by then. That Norris get double points every time he finishes in the top 3. He gets double the poinents. It's the only way. It's like a handicap. It's an advantage. So that'll
10
never
points
happen.
for fastest lap if Lando gets it.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, they're going to call Lando Norris. He's going to get points for favorite driver of the day or whatever the fuck that competition's called. But only if he wins it. Like a special incentive.
Lando Norris of the day.
Yeah. Oh man, I love the idea that he would lose that though. That's a really fun setup.
Oh, have you seen that quote from what is that quote from Alain Prost? Have you seen it?
No. What?
Alain Prost. It was quoted. This is his quote. This guy, you give him the best car and team orders, and he still loses. He's useless.
Ooh. Ooh.
Tell us what you really think, Elaine.
Yeah. I mean, do we have time for Alain Prost on this show? Probably. If you ever want to come on, we don't
spend all of 5 minutes ever talking about him.
Prosty is Prosto. So, yeah, I am here with you on this. There is a little bit of the Ferrari is the dog chasing the garbage truck, right? Wouldn't know what to do if it caught it.
Yes.
I'm not sure what Ferrari quite knows what to do if they were winning. Like they're winning races and they are quiet about it, which is maybe the good thing, right? They keep turning up and everyone's sitting around going like, took our eyes off for like 1 second and Ferrari have won again. How did that happen? And what is it about them that's making them win? We can't really pinpoint that either. Is it a case of the other two teams having a bad weekend?
Well,
or is it that Ferrari have a good Sunday car, like a good whole package actually, and two drivers who at this point in their lives are in exactly the right position. Sainz is not too worried about the like legacy and having to question his drive at Ferrari or anything like that because he's off. Yeah, it's perfect.
What was he saying on this weekend? Like Charles is taking the piss. Tell him to shut up.
It's so good, right? And then Leclerc is kind of like, cool, I'm just going to make sure that I am I'm going to win all these races as much as I can before maybe the best driver ever turns up at the team next season. Get everybody on side before Lewis turns up.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah, I'm here for Ferrari winning the constructors, 100%.
This was the second point that I was going to say is that, Red Bull are nowhere near it. McLaren are in front now. Now they're in front, Zach. But I'll tell you, if you look at the trend lines, Ferrari are on the charge.
They're on one.
And I'll tell you what works against McLaren is that Red Bull, what seems to be going on at Red Bull is, number one, they're just off the pace, but particularly on the hard tires, they're off the pace really badly then.
Top line speed as well. Like they're great through the corners, but the top line speed is just not right there.
And then times when that's mitigated is obviously the start of the race, but also sprint races. And there's 2 more to go before the end of the year. So not only are McLaren going to have to deal with the apparently all dominating Ferrari right now, but Red Bull will be there, at least in the sprint races, and they'll have to contend with them at the start of every race. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy for McLaren if they can do it. And I saw this stat that was like, McLaren haven't won the Constructors' Championship since 1998. Okay. And Ferrari haven't won it since 2008. So either way, it's been a long time between drinks for both of them. But I mean, as much as I don't necessarily want to be like, I hope this happens. I mean, either of those two would be great.
I hope this happens, is what you're saying.
I sort of hope Ferrari win.
Yeah, same. I want Ferrari to win it all now. And how did that happen? How did the bad guys become the good guys?
I've never barracked for Ferrari in my life.
Even when Fernando Alonso was there, we were a little bit like, that was as far as we went. We were like, okay. But
fine, I guess.
I mean, also, what that does for I hate to be #narrative, but what it does for the narrative for next year with Lewis Hamilton going there. If it happened a little early, if they're like, we brought the guy in to do the thing, we already did the thing, so don't worry about it.
Wasn't that long ago that Ferrari were falling over themselves and Mercedes was coming good and everyone was looking at Lewis like, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Now he must be feeling on top of the world.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Except that every day he has to turn up and race that Mercedes, which is a dog. So maybe he feels good he feels good for 5 out of the 7 days of the week.
He's dreaming in red though. Dreaming in red.
Yeah. So what do we say? It'd be really good if Norris and Verstappen crashed into each other properly at once instead of just dancing around each other. That's what this championship needs, right? It needs a blow up. It needs a
you're turning into Michael Arenado. I had to call him out because he was like, I want to see them crash. And I was like, you're sicko.
Yeah. I'm pressed up against that glass, baby.
Let's get into this then, because there has been people saying Lando Norris is treating Verstappen with soft gloves and he needs to just literally land a punch just so that Verstappen knows next time you try that, that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to crash into you.
I don't know that I mean, I would not endorse that, but if that happened, the scenes.
Great scenes. What races we need? The thing is, right? There's too many of these races.
Days, Zach. We don't have to wait.
There's too many There's too many races that are on with too big a runoff, right? So the crashes that happen, they're low stakes.
It's
You know,
true.
from a race ending perspective.
Las Vegas, there's
Yeah.
some walls there.
So that's what we're looking for, right? Because the problem is that it's usually Lando doing the overtaking in the last couple of stoushes. And if you get in front and then you turn into the guy, you're going to get punctures and it's bad for you. You can break the guy's front wing, maybe. If
Gotta
you're
get past him,
trying,
though.
yeah, but if you're coming through under and you drive into him, you're the one getting all the penalties. You might give him a puncture, but you're going to go down as bad, and you're going to lose whatever advantage you have, right? So you need a bit of. We need a bit of on the straight. Lando should try to cut him off, like Max would do to him, right?
Well, that would do it, like the Vettel style. I'm in front of you now, so deal with this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm coming in. You're going to have to brake because Max won't.
Point to make
Max is just going to send it.
I was going to say Loris. Norris knows if he tries to overtake, Max is not going to have a bar of it. But what Norris needs to do is say, if you try that, we're going to have trouble. Not to win that race, but to make the rest of them a little bit more in his favor than they currently are.
Yeah.
That's the argument anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in true, look, if this was real Formula One and not the new fake Formula One light, no
It's
sugar
like
Formula One that we have these
it's
days.
it's like, you know, it's all preordained.
Oscar Piastri needs to crash into Max Verstappen. That's what people should be really looking for. That's really what the answer is.
I was going to say, where are the teammates?
Where are the teammates? Chico Perez from the back,
just going
from the audience, coming in with the chair.
Checo Perez is falling down the order. He must have a problem. He doesn't have a problem. He's only got one problem, and his name is Lando Norris.
Yeah, exactly. He's going back through the grid to find him.
This time, it's personnel, bro.
That'd be glorious. But then Liam Lawson will come out of nowhere and crash into Chico just for like. There's all kinds of different rumbles happening nowadays.
That would be like, that's the Hollywood moment. Checo Perez just slowing up, just looking in his mirrors, waiting for Norris to come, and then he tries to jink, but from the other side, Liam Lawson hits him and they both spin off, and then Norris speeds through to win.
And God, would we be happy about that? No, because we want Ferrari to win. So, you know.
Well, that doesn't stop Ferrari winning.
Who would you prefer to, if you had to pick the Ferrari driver to win every race for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, Leclerc beating Norris for P2 would be pretty sweet. But I mean, once that's done,
what if I can guarantee they finish 1-2 every race?
Well, you know, again, whatever guarantees Leclerc will beat Norris, I'm pro that. I'm barracking for that.
Okay,
I'm hoping for that. Beyond that, every bottom that Carlos Sainz can spank before he leaves.
Oh, so good.
What a way to leave him.
Yeah. Oh man. What did we do to appease the Formula One gods to get this season? I don't know where it's come from.
I've been saying this for months. This is one of the best F1 seasons we've had in years.
It's, you know, I don't know what, maybe I'd love to think about this on our end of season show with Box of Neutrals, because I've got some ruminations here that I actually genuinely believe.
Okay.
At this point.
Well, are you going to save them or lay them out now?
No, I'm going to plant the seed with you, and we'll see if it grows.
Cool.
I think that the cost cap has helped here. And I think that Liberty Media are also partly responsible for this thing being successful. And I think that we're getting towards the end of this formula. There's not much else in so far as innovation available. And with cost cap, it means that no one's likely to be like, oh, let's just reinvent the car every season. Like Mercedes have tried that and it just doesn't work. Instead, what you should be doing is walking around like McLaren are and going like, we'll have that idea, we'll have that idea, we'll have that idea.
Well, look, I mean, we can get into it, you know, in the show in a month and a bit time. But I mean, you've also got the neutralization of the Newey advantage at Red Bull, as well as the sort of
he took all the CAD files with him.
When teams are looking forward to the new formula, going, well, let's just invest over there because we're doing okay now. But what other teams have been able to do is invest now so that they can jump or, you know, neutralize.
Catch up. Well, I think that's a nice segue to a bunch of other teams that have caught up and have made not just the front end of this of everything nice and spicy, but the middle end.
It seems like the midfielder and the back markers have almost, other than Stake, almost flipped around. It just feels like people who had no hope just a few months ago are suddenly killing it. So Haas regularly in the points now. Alpine, well, I mean Gasly doing well.
I know.
What do you think of all this?
I couldn't believe it. So I sat down this weekend watching the Mexico Grand Prix. We had some friends over. I say that like I had heaps of friends over.
Bragging.
Another couple came over. Yep, absolutely. We'd been out for lunch. Then we watched the Arsenal Liverpool game. The gentleman who was there was a Liverpool fan.
Who won?
So it was a draw, a tie, 2-2. Brilliant game of football, but also devastating for me, an Arsenal fan, and fine for him, a Liverpool fan. And then you have to sit together. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, so we had a few drinks, and then it was like, oh, lo and behold, the Formula One's on now. Fuck yeah! Don't go home yet. Everyone just stay here and let's get pizza and watch the Formula One. And he's a sport guy. He follows sport. And he was like, I just can't believe that. Am I reading this correctly? Do I need to put my glasses on? When did Haas get okay? Not even just okay, but good. And I don't know if it's because everybody else has fallen behind, or that they're just genuinely like, it's kind of, the drivers are fine, the car's good, the tracks are good, it's all kind of suiting everybody. Is it because they're Ferrari as well? Maybe. Maybe the package is actually pretty good.
I think you're all around it there, because that's what I thought. Because they were interviewing, who's the guy? Is it Komatsu? Who's the head guy? No, it is Haas. Yeah. And they were like, "What have you done to turn this team around? It's so good." But I was thinking, when was the last time Haas were good? Oh yeah, when they came into the sport. And what was their deal again? Because there was this story also, because they were like, we buy everything we can off Ferrari.
Yeah, everything they've got.
Paid Dallara to build the rest. And now we're entering some new contract with Honda for engine powertrain stuff. But I was like, that's when it clicked. And I was like, when Ferrari are good, Haas are good. That's what it is.
That's the answer.
It's very simple. Now, like, it's a good story, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
But it's like, when Ferrari are good, Haas are good.
And also, interestingly, Mercedes not so good. Williams Mercedes not so good.
How about that?
Alpine out on their own,
just
not so good. Kick Sauber Ferrari, just not a good team. Ferrari good,
going their own way.
But Kick Sauber. Wait, do they have no points? I didn't notice that.
No points.
0 points.
Valtteri Bottas still last out of 23? I think he is.
That's tough. What a fourth.
I think Oliver
race.
Behrman overtook him on positions.
No, are you joking? Oh my God, he's lower than Sargent.
Yeah, we might come back to Bottas in a second, but it's dire. It's at stake. They're the only team with absolutely no idea. But yeah, I mean, there's shifting fortunes in the midfield, probably for a variety of reasons.
I suppose they're being bought by a Volkswagen. They'll just be a different team next year. So, or the year. When are they becoming a different team?
What happens there?
I can't imagine they're investing any money at all in their car or their drivers.
But this is also to point out, like, we're all focused on the front of the grid and how amazing the battle is. And just even, like, the other stat is, like, for the second season ever, we've had 6 drivers who have won more than one race. So, like, it's unheard of how dynamic and entertaining it is at the front of the grid for the first 3, 4, 5 teams. But there's action up and down the grid, other than stake.
Yeah, other than them.
Forget about stake.
Action everywhere.
Forget about them. We're going to have I've held out long enough. Time for another Oreo.
Oh, man. Well, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's fine.
Format.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting hungry. I think I've got salad for lunch. I mean, it's good salad, but it's salad nonetheless. Maybe I'll eat one of the eggs that I have marinating in soy and mirin and stuff that I keep as backup just in case. Okay. But it's, I mean, it really is the story of Haas. There's not there are loads of other drivers that we could talk about. But really, I want to talk about the fact that there's a guy here who's bumbling around with these dudes down in the midfield who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be bumbling around in there. And Rod, would you perhaps say that it is check over for
many people are saying it, not me, but many
not
people
you.
are saying it's check over.
Yeah. Is it time to check out even?
I mean, the Mexican Grand Prix was, someone, there was some account that was like, who are the biggest winners from the Mexican Grand Prix and who are the biggest losers from the Mexican Grand Prix? And I was like, Sergio Perez, the innovative man that he is, invented fresh and interesting new ways to lose. at the Mexican Grand Prix. Qualified like an absolute dog. Jumped his pit box. Got a
it was
penalty and then
so
argued with
bad.
his team about it. Just screwed that race in every way that he could. And Liam Lawson, talking about Liam Lawson, everyone was so mad at Liam Lawson. Why is he fighting against Checo so hard? I think Checo dive bombed him. I think it was his fault.
Same. I did not have, I felt like I had too many beers whilst, did I miss this completely?
Here?
I was watching the show and
Checo did to Lawson what Verstappen does to other drivers, and then people lose their mind and want to change the driving regulations. But because it's Checo and Lawson, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, this was the kicker, the ultimate indignity in front of his home fans, running last, pits to try and set the fastest lap at the same time that Leclerc does, and he's 1 second slower than Leclerc.
It's so good. I mean, just it's like they
over.
Make him sound like a Polish tennis player. Check over. It's unfathomable. It's like they asked him to dig his own grave. They handed him the shovel. Like, come in for the shovel, Checo. Here you go.
And buy the spade.
Yeah, it's so bad. And it's such a shame too, because I love that Mexican Grand Prix. I love the course, like the layout. I love that it goes through the stadium. I love that little stadium complex. I love the vibes. I love the whole thing about that race. Don't take it off the calendar.
No. Oh, God, no.
But they will.
Mexico deserves better.
Yeah, but they won't get it because, like, Checo Perez will be dumped unceremoniously from this team.
Can we get Guitar Hero back?
What? Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Great call. I think it's his second call out this season after going probably 5 seasons without Esteban Guitar Hero Gutierrez getting
I was listening
mentioned.
back to that other episode we did, and you were talking about Big Maxi Chilton. I was like, oh, I remember those names. Just hearing the words Big Maxi Chilton just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Anyway, what are we talking about?
Well, we're going to say that he'll get dumped, and then Mexico Grand Prix will probably go away at some point. Although they do like these Americas races, so perhaps it will stay. How long is their contract for? I feel like everyone signed a 25-year contract with Liberty Media, so they plug the sport and sell it off to the Saudi investment fund next year. But
I feel like you were talking about Williams and how one particular Williams driver was jumping and getting all about it, and now we're talking about who might replace Checo. Are we going there?
Yeah, I want to go there but I want to bring it in with the same guy that you just talked about with Liam Lawson, right? Because these are two guys.
They're
they're just regular guys. But Liam Lawson is being considered as, like, I don't know, the stuff that I'm seeing online is really like he's this feisty villain. And I don't think he is. I just think he's a guy, like, he's a little bit like Oscar Piastri in that he kind of says what he's thinking, but in a pretty reasonable manner. In his delivery is quite reasonable. And he's quite serious and professional, but maybe he doesn't race quite that way all the time. But he's really good. And so you would say, well, stick him in the Red Bull, right? That's what he's doing in the whatever the fuck they're called these days. I'm just going to call them AlphaTauri. I know that's not right, but the
V-Carb,
the RB Cash V-Carb, whatever. The baby team for babies. He's there for that reason, to get that Red Bull drive. Like, they're just making sure he knows how the cars work, that he's not a red flag immediately. That's got to be it, right? There's no one else.
To be clear, Ricardo's not there because they don't want him to do that. So yes, are they going to replace Checo with Yuki and or Liam Lawson and or someone else? That's the question.
It won't be Yuki. It just can't be.
It seems like they're not keen on it.
It's such a shame. But it won't be. And I just don't think that's to do with Yuki. I think that is to do with Red Bull more than anything else. I just don't think that they think that he's got it. Whereas they think that probably Liam Lawson does. Because he's their pick. Yuki's not their pick.
Yeah. No, that's true.
But maybe Liam is going to be too much of a firecracker. Maybe he knows it. And he's like, let's do whatever I want then.
I think that's definitely a worry, is that if you're like causing beef, first of all, in his first race in, straight away, him and Fernando Alonso taking shots at each other. Second race in, he's like, I don't know, quote unquote, crashing into the Red Bull car and causing beef with Checo Perez at his home race.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it going to be like when you're
driving
driving
into
next to
Max
Verstappen. So that's
to let
it's got to be
Oscar
on their
Piastri
mind.
through because you're mates.
Sure. So okay. So let's say it's not Yuki, and let's say it's probably not going to be Liam.
But
Who?
is it Colapin? Get into that Red Bull. Someone
Get in
put
there.
this on social media today, and someone's written a nice. Who was it? I think it's in Autosport. I could pull it up, but
Yeah,
I'm
everyone's
not.
talking about.
Everyone's talking about it. Even me.
Well-
Everyone on this show is talking about it.
Christian Horner acknowledged that they had expressed interest in his services. Now that doesn't mean next to Max. Could mean anything, but they were asking. They were asking.
Now,
Like he asked someone for his number.
we've played this game recently. If you are Colapinto, what's his first name?
Franco.
Franco, thank you. God, that sounds made up. Are you sure? Franco Colapinto.
It's Franco
It sounds
Cozzo
like
Pinto.
sounds like a character in a Grand Theft Auto game. Franco Colapinto is Mario, Luigi Mario.
Yes.
If I was his agent, I would not advise him to go to the Red Bull sister team, V Cup. That is the place where drivers go to die.
Not even V Cup.
Nah, mate. You're in there. You'll have a drive for a long time. Brilliant, right? But you just, that is not the way, I don't think, to have a really good Formula One career. I think you could stay at Williams for another season and wait for something else to move and change. There will be other guys who will leave other teams. I think there are other
Zach,
spots on the grid coming up.
he can't stay at Williams.
No,
They've already got some drivers that they're paying a lot of money for.
Yeah.
So he has to go somewhere. I think that's more the question. And then there's a seat at Sauber, and we've just pointed out how woeful Valtteri Bottas has been doing.
Yeah, that's a downgrade.
So, I
but
mean,
a lot can change by the end of the season. Like there's other seats that will come up.
I'll tell you,
probably
who's
go to
not doing
Haas.
so well is Alexander Albon.
Yeah.
Let's
a shame.
say was driving quite well when his teammate was Logan Sargent by comparison. But now that there's someone who's not Logan Sargent, all of a sudden Albon seems to have gone to water.
Yeah. I think that's this. I mean, it happened a little bit with Russell as well. But like, I just don't. We're saying that Albon needs to be number one driver
maybe
in order to be successful.
Maybe. But I mean, the option that maybe to think through what you were just thinking about, I think, is to say, even if there's a seat at V Cup, don't go there. Stay with Williams as their reserve driver or backup driver, because if Albon falls completely off, Williams may say, didn't we have someone who was like a firecracker scoring points and just getting amongst it? Didn't we have someone, Franco Zinky, Zinkalonko, something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, Haas. Could it be Haas? I mean he's pretty good. Alpine is the other drive that doesn't have confirmed. I'm just running through a list now. Do they? Does Alpine have their driver list? Oh, Doohan. I forgot about Doohan. Sorry, yes. Is that confirmed? Doohan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. That's bad. I apologize to all listeners that I totally missed that.
It's okay. Let me just paint it for you. It's V-Carb or Sauber. That's it.
It's V-Carb or Sauber. That's it. Oh, I don't know, man. I reckon he could steal one of these seats. I reckon he could steal that Behrman seat. Formula One's a crazy game. I'm like,
I mean, look, he could.
Behrman's not in Formula One every weekend. Either is Antonelli. They're not there. Colapinto is here, and Formula One teams are stupid and crazy, and it could just be that he's driving himself into a way better drive than, because he seems good and experienced as well. He also doesn't seem impetuous and like, stupid. He seems just like really good and pretty calm and assured of himself. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why these teams promise these drives as well to these kids, like Mercedes and I know they like to get themselves sorted out, but like, there's lots of talent in the world. Why does it only have to be the like guys who are on your? Let me start again. I think that the Colapinto hire is proof that you should be doing more of that in Formula One than being like, cool, we got this guy who's 16, then we put him in F2, and then we put him in some FP1 race like things, and they're like, and now there's a pool of like 5 guys who are the next 5 guys who are coming into Formula One, and we'll just work out. He's
our backup reserve driver for next year.
Yeah, and we're just going to work out which teams they go into. I mean, how many times have we heard Bam and Antonelli doing these are the same guys? Liam Lawson, it's just the same dudes that they're all going to make it in Formula One. And before that, it was the other set of dudes that was, Gasly and we hear the names for years, and they all just seem to come in, and some of them are hits and some of them are misses. But there's loads of other talent in the world that can get in, and possibly, maybe, just maybe, if we spent less time getting fucking pay drivers in, taking up these stupid seats, and we actually brought in more good, talented young drivers, maybe even some women, fucking God forsake it to be true, that we get a more interesting sport. Instead of just who's the next kid who was born to it, who's mates with Toto Wolff and had every little possible, and since he was 12, he's obviously been the best driver. It's like, fuck that shit. Go and get some Argentine, stick him in the car.
International conglomerates with very deep pockets are backing him, so therefore he must be the best.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure that's happening with Colapinto to an extent too. That's Formula One. But Oscar Piastri made it.
Yeah.
Through not always the most traditional routes.
No, you can do it. Yeah, for sure.
When
Colapinto was announced, especially because I felt that Williams dropped Sargent for stupid reasons in a dumb way. And they were like, "Oh, we're bringing this guy from the F2 midfield." I was like, "This is nuts." I will absolutely admit that Colapinto has completely won me over. I think he's an amazing talent. It's approaching the sport in this amazing way, and just seems to have the right temperament.
Yeah, acts like a Formula One driver.
And I'm just always glad to see him and want to know more about him.
Yes,
I don't know what that says, but I just feel like that is what is so winning about him right now for me.
Fucking nailed it. That is exactly the vibe. There is someone coming into Formula One that I care about, and that I see on the leaderboard. I'm like, cut to this guy. He's doing stuff on the track.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone gushes over certain drivers on social media and stuff, but now when they're gushing over Colapinto, I'm like, why? What did he say? Is he cool? What does he? What does he want? What drives him? What's he?
Yeah. Does he? I want to read the little bio in the F1 program at the race.
That's what I'm talking about, and it's not just because he's our new driver, because we've got quite a lot of them. There's something about him, something about that guy, Argentinian spice that I'm needing in my F1 diet right now.
Boring. He doesn't seem like he's made in a Formula One factory.
Just something. Just something about his cut of his jib.
I really hope we don't find out some bad thing about Franco Colapinto. If it was an old show,
we're due. We can count to 3 and then Google Franco Colapinto. There's some tweets from 10 years ago that he forgot to delete.
Hey, he was born 2 days after my birthday, but also 15 years later.
Why, Zach? What were you doing when you were 15?
When I was 15, I was probably trying to, I don't know.
Oh, what was I doing, Franco Colapinto? What was I doing? I was being born.
I was being born into a Formula One car because I'm so bloody good. Oh, man.
Well, all right. That's the super license positions sorted. We're Franco Colapinto. What are Franco Colapinto fans called? Fanzos? Fanco?
Pintos.
Pintosies.
Pintos. The Pintosi is quite good. The
Pintifosi.
Oh,
we did it. Colapintifosi. Everybody, that's trademark me.
Pintifosi. I like it. Get him on the phone. Can I make one more point? I said we'd circle back to fastest lap.
Okay, yes. Oh, I forgot we were going to come back to that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I've got 2 options for you, Rod. So still 1 point, but you can get it even if you're outside the top 10. Or even further, you can only get it if you're outside the top 10.
Oof.
What do you feel?
So
how's that
do I
hit you?
have is this I can't just say I like both or I don't like either. I have to do I have to
you
pick
can,
one or the other?
It's your show.
Or just ruminate on these?
Sit back, come back to me offline on WhatsApp or something, digest it, save for the next show. No, because to come back to the initial intent, when it came in, we were like, this is such a great idea because towards the end of the race, nothing's happening.
Did we?
Well, no, we didn't say it was a great idea. We said it was an idea. It was one of those crazy ideas like watering the track. We were like, okay,
yeah, sure. Okay,
it's nice to see them try it. And I'm surprised it lasted this long because for years it's been doing nothing because no one goes after it unless they're winning or they have like 40 seconds spare. It didn't. Yeah. spiced up the racing like we expected it to. That people were like, oh, everyone's going to be duking it out for this fastest lap. But I think that's because the guys who are already in points positions don't need it. But the guys who
like
aren't,
a risk to try and get it.
a little race with the guys who are from 11th to 20th on the grid, who got a little something to fight for, because they're just driving around doing nothing, right? 15th and 16th doesn't matter. But if you can go get fastest lap, there's a point for you.
Oh, I've got an idea.
Mm.
I've got a great idea.
Okay.
We run the race.
Mm.
It finishes. Checkered flag.
Yeah.
The checkered flag is not the end of the action, though. The checkered flag is the start of a single one-lap shootout.
Sprint
Fastest lap gets the point.
Yes. Yeah. Go
One
again,
last
everyone.
lap.
Yeah. Exactly. I love it.
Well, pretty happy
Here we
with that.
go. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh, so good. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. But, well, okay. So, look, I've always said that if they're going to have a point, give it to whoever gets it. For sure. Absolutely. The other thing is, if you're going to give a point, give it to pole because, like,
that's the hard
that
thing.
makes qualifying mean something.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I
also,
think they're all going
don't
for
do
pole
that
anyway.
because that's dumb.
Yeah, but also you don't need to change it. It's fine.
Because you know who doesn't need extra points? The guy who's starting on pole.
The guy who's
Let's
really
give
good, who's probably
the
going to win the
driver.
race because most people...
That driver does not need any extra advantage. He's got quite an advantage already. So look, yeah, I'm happy it's gone. And you know, Lando Norris said, I wish they hadn't gotten rid of it. I just wish they changed it a bit. But we all know the change that he wanted.
Yeah, give it to the guy who's cutest.
Give it to the cutest Lando Norris.
Yeah, give it to the cutest little guy.
Right.
That's Lando Norris.
We've got one segment left to do, Zach.
Finally. This is all I actually came for.
I told someone else that we do this and they were like, what? You're an F1 show and you talk about what?
Whatever's on our minds, really.
It's time for Megalopolis check.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Megalopolis, Zach. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
No.
That's been Megalopolis check for another week. Play the theme. Oh, we still don't have one. You know what I did see?
Oh, yeah?
Joker 2. Have you seen that?
No, you did. Why did you go and see this? God, you're an enigma.
Because I loved Joker and I thought Joker 2 was good.
Okay. Right. Well,
you haven't seen it.
No, I'm not.
Well,
I think I'll. So I'm coming to Australia.
You're gearing
in
up to tear me down, though.
No. You know me too well. I'm about to shit on a thing that I haven't seen. I'm
you're shitting on me.
No, never. Come on, you know how criticism works. You were the one who taught me how it works. That I can hate the music you like, Zach, but it doesn't mean I hate you. is what you taught me early on in our relationship.
All right. Well,
I can hate this thing, but I don't. Doesn't mean I don't.
Yeah,
I
don't
hate
take
you.
it personally. You didn't make the music.
Man, yesterday the music that was playing in the office was just our iTunes Genius playlist from the Commonwealth School all those years ago. It was mad. Someone just put it on. And I was like, oh my God, is this Foles? Like, where did this come from? It's crazy. Anyway, so I've got some movies I'm going to be able to watch on the plane from London to Australia in January. I'm going to have a lot of time to watch films. And I think Joker 2 is going to be on that flight, baby.
So have you seen Joker, the first one?
I've seen the Joker. I've seen Joker.
I've seen
it.
Japesman.
The laugh a minute romp Joker.
So I think it's no guarantee. Liking Joker is no guarantee that you'll like the second. And obviously the consensus is out. Virtually nobody likes it. But that just says what a friggin' wild card I am that I liked it. I just sat there the whole time being like, bits of my brain were lighting up that I was like, I can't believe they did that.
You were entertained, is what you were saying. Doesn't make it a good film. But you were entertained.
I would like. It's so hard to recommend like anybody because I just don't know.
Is it
who
Oreo Coke?
It's the Oreo flavored Coke. It's definitely not like
two
Joker
great
1
things like
is
Oreo,
the Coke-flavored
Joaquin
Oreos.
Phoenix, Coca-Cola, Lady Gaga, right? So they work in. I think that separately, amazing.
There you go.
Can you put them together? In what way you put them together? In what format you put them together? Changes what you're getting. So I've heard that people think that Lady Gaga is wasted in this film.
See, that is the thing I 100% disagree in.
Okay.
I was not interested in Lady Gaga at all. After seeing it, I was like, I've got so much respect for you, and this movie would not have worked for me without her in it.
I think she's great.
Remarkable in it.
Yeah. But that's what I think that people mean is that there could be more give her
What
more
did they
to play with.
want?
What do they expect? You're right. I think it's a great shout. I think if you were going to ask me who you should play Harley Quinn, I think Margot Robbie was always a good shout, and I think that
But I
that
think
Lady Gaga is also a good shout.
she's disappointing as Harley Quinn. The way that Joaquin Phoenix was disappointing
as
the
the
Joker in the film. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
I do know
that's
what
what
you
the
mean.
movie
The
is.
thing is,
So
it
meet
shouldn't-
it on its terms.
Yeah, I think
Anyway.
that I just really like Joaquin Phoenix, and when I see him and stuff, I think he steals it. I didn't like Napoleon. I thought he was really good in it.
I haven't seen Napoleon.
Yeah, wouldn't
But-
worry about it. Now we're becoming my new favorite podcast, which I'm trying not to become because I can't do it. But
So I haven't
yeah.
seen Megalopolis.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I like
You know what I've seen?
that everybody who is seeing it continues just to be like, it's wild and makes no sense, and I don't know. I can see why he had to fund it himself.
Because he made a movie in the 80s called One from the Heart. That is, he funded it himself and had trouble selling it. Started his own movie production company to make it, and it's wild and so weird. And I was only reminded of it recently. And then when I thought about Megalopolis, I was like, it's just like One from the Heart, but now in 10 times. He's got form doing this, is what I mean. There is a movie related Formula One tie-in, if we want to go there quickly, which is that at the Mexican Grand Prix, the crowd were told to stand up and cheer and wave
for Bradley Pitt.
Cardboard cutouts of Brad Pitt's head, because apparently Sonny Hayes won the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yes, Sonny.
We barely talked about the winner of the race, Apex Racing, and Sonny Hayes. Congratulations to him. Got a good feeling about him in the championship this year.
Yeah,
I had an
more
epiphany
points
though,
than
Zach.
Bottas.
They're making this fucking F1 movie.
Yeah.
It's coming out next year, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It's not done. They're still making it, very obviously. Now, every sports movie that you've seen in the last 10 years, there's always a scene, multiple scenes where there's like a montage. Something goes well, montage,
win,
radio,
win,
TikTok, podcasts, clips from podcasts where they're like, can't you believe everything's going so well for Sonny Hayes? Or I can't believe that thing. We've got to get in on that action, man. This podcast is going nowhere fast. Our last hope is to get in on that Formula One movie. We've got to do it. So right now,
show. Yeah, sure.
we have to give them what they. It's like an audition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Hayes won the race, or something really bad happened to Sonny Hayes, or whatever. We just have to
give
go
him
through
both.
a couple of scenarios. You ready? So do you want to do a good one first or a bad one first?
Let's do a bad one to cut our palettes on. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Zach, but ever since that race, I've just had Sonny Hayes in my thoughts. I can't believe that happened. It's a miracle that he survived that.
An absolute miracle. I mean, the fact that a raccoon managed to make it onto the track, let alone end up in the air intake and blow out the entire left side of the car. It's amazing that both him and the raccoon survived. It's
concerning. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've seen an F1 car flip like that and throw the driver out and have his dick ripped off by the steering wheel on the way out. It's.
I know, but in the what I think is the silver lining of the entire story is how great was it that fan found the dick, put it into their big gulp ice drink, and managed to save it, present it trophy-like back to Sonny, and they managed to reattach it. I don't know how many races he'll be out for. I don't know how much that impacts someone's driving, but heroes at every turn.
If you put that in a movie, they wouldn't believe it. All right, now we do a good one. So, no, like scene.
This is
fun. We nailed it.
I think we should become an improv show instead. I think we should do a D&D podcast like every other podcast is doing.
Oh, geez. Well, that would be the first time I've ever played D&D.
It won't be the last.
Now, good one where Sonny Hayes wins the race and closes in on winning the
Mars Grand Prix. Where is this film set? On Earth? Or
I think it's set on Earth, yeah.
Is it a sci-fi?
Sure. So one way he wins, I mean, it could be the Mexican Grand Prix.
Is he a Benjamin Button type character, or is he going to be the age that he is? Because he's too old to be a Formula One driver.
That's what I was thinking. Seeing the photos of him waving the flag around, I was like, you look 60 years old because you're about 60 years old.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah. Fernando Alonso is going to make him look old. Okay, a good one. Okay, let's shake it off. Do you want me to start this one?
Yeah.
I mean, Rod, can you believe it? After what? It's been a tumultuous season for Sonny. He's had some serious lows.
Serious lows.
And the wins that he's had have been absolute. Like, I would say that they've fallen into his lap. But this is the performance that shows us why they took such a punt on him to put him in this car and put him in this position.
It seems like when he wants to turn it on, he can really just pull it right out, which is
I mean, he
probably
turns
as
me
a
on.
result of something that he can do after that crash that he had earlier this season. But he can pull it out anytime he wants, which is just the Sunny Hayes magic that we're all tuning in for every week. But he's really electrified the season. And I mean, I just feel like it's in my waters now. It's Sunny's to win.
I think it is Sonny's to win. I don't think anybody's going to be able to rip it off him, as it were. So, yeah, I think we're all Team Sonny now.
It's all in his hands.
Seen? Seen. I've
Scene.
seen it. And I believe it.
Scene.
And seen. I love it.
I love the
Pull it
dick
back.
callback. We
Oh.
fucking nailed that.
Yeah.
See you on IMAX, bitch.
Do you think we're going to invite it to the premiere? That'd be nice.
We're gonna be. Our name is gonna be on the screen,
We're going
bro.
to be in the film. I'm sitting next to Bradley Pitt.
Exactly.
Both of us. On one side, he's sitting in the middle. You're on his left. I'm on his right.
Well, look,
Ah.
mate. I promise you, when I'm rich and famous, I won't let the money change who I am.
I thought you said Richard famous, not Richard.
I'm Richard famous.
I heard Richard. When I'm Dick famous.
All right. Well, that's enough
Okay.
silliness. If people want to follow all of our shenanigans, including this, you can always subscribe to the podcast. You can always follow us on YouTube, but probably even easier than that is to just give us a little cheeky little follow on Threads. We're at
Oh, so
Superlicense
easy.
F1.
Yeah.
The website is superlicense.fm. This week, the FM stands for Zach.
Film movies.
Film movies. Whoop, whoop. And thanks to all the Patreon supporters who chuck in a couple of
Yes.
dollars every week. I'd love to do a little bit more for the Patreon supporters. I've been putting out the podcast early, so we record it and then straight away audio
Straight out there.
and a
Uncut.
cheeky little link to the video goes straight to the Patreon supporters. And then
Beautiful.
the next morning or the next day,
Mm.
everybody else gets it in their podcast feed and on YouTube. But if you want it early, if you can't wait,
Yeah.
chuck us a couple of dollars. You get
If
into
you
the
want
Patreon
our-
and you'll get all access to all that stuff early.
If you want our takes at their hottest, at their piping hottest, you really want to be on the Patreon because that's where you get them first. You want to be,
Last
and
thing
you know
I was-
what you can do is you can take our takes, and because they're not for public consumption yet, because you're a patron on our Patreon, you can take those takes. I'm letting you license. You
take
can
them.
license out the takes because you've paid the license fee, the Patreon fee, right? And you can take our takes, and take them to your favorite WhatsApp Formula One groups, Discord channels, drinks at the pub, and proffer them as your takes and say,
Yes.
you know what I think? Colapin Toe is the guy.
A member of the Colapin
Pin
Tifosi.
Tofosi. That could be you. You could coin that.
Yeah, you can
and
tell
don't
people you
even-
came up with that.
Exactly. You could tell people that Joker 2 is good. You could be one of the few, a handful.
Me and 6 other people.
Me and all my
Not
friends.
even Wacky Phoenix likes
Can't believe you didn't call it by its actual name.
Folie du.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, that's what I would do.
Fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, I ran this by you. You gave it the official ticket of Zach of approval. New merch coming very, very soon. It's been so many years.
Yes.
And even this merch, like, I can't underhype this enough. It's just something new. It was some
something
dumb
new
idea
and
that I
fun.
had and it turned out okay.
I
But if
like
you ever
it.
wanted a shirt with a super license thing on it,
Mm.
boy, that thing is like, it's so about to have, we are so about to have one of those ready for you to get for yourself,
I made
or
one.
for your partner, or for your dad for Christmas,
Mm.
or for your friend whose birthday is also on Christmas Day, or for your son or daughter, should you ever find a partner and have a kid. You could always put it away for them.
Exactly. If you want a t-shirt that you can wear to almost all of your calls when working from home,
Yes.
have I got a t-shirt for you?
Please sit up and make the logo prominent. And when people ask, give them the website, which is superlicense.fm, film movies.
Yeah.
That's coming soon. So if you follow us on Threads, you'll see I'll post about that.
Woo, I hope I get a heads up so I can get one before anyone else.
Mate, I reckon that's the show.
That's the show. I want to give one shout out because it's the only platform I have. I have absolutely been loving the Movies You Forgot, a podcast about
Oh.
films with two guys who it feels like a podcast made 15 years ago when podcasts like ours started, which is,
Right.
I know it's two guys chatting about two guys, right? Another two guys talking about
Oh,
films.
great. Yeah, finally.
premise is
a
great.
podcast featuring two guys.
But the premise is great because they're not Americans, first of all, which is also
Oh,
really
good.
good because I feel like there's a lot of podcasts with Americans talking about films. So this
Are
is
they
not
Argentinian,
that.
perhaps?
No, I wish. I think they are English boys. But they're I hate to say it, reminds me a little bit of you and me because they're just different enough in age that they have slightly different views on what is really good and what is not. And it's not just talking about crap movies or great movies. The premise is we've both seen this film, but one of us has kind of forgotten it. And so they try to catch each other out to decide what the next film is going to be that they're going to go and look at. So it might be simple as like LA Confidential, or it might be, not films that you would that might be good, but you just don't really remember what they're about. And it is fun as an exploration topic. And I have been absolutely gobbling them up. Oh my God, I can't stop listening to it. And I think you might enjoy it too, because there's a curmudgeonly guy and a fun guy. And I think that reminds me of us in whatever order you like.
Yeah, it's like it's like us, like the curmudgeonly one and also me.
Exactly. One guy who thinks they're the nice one and one guy who is the nice one.
There's the one who thinks he's the funny one and the other guy that lets him think that.
Exactly. So that's the movies you forgot.
I love that. I'm going to
find the episodes that you like about the films you've seen.
I've got a podcast recommendation too, which is, I don't know if you like the band Fugazi. You're familiar with Fugazi?
Not really. I've heard that it would be a band that maybe I would like. Yeah.
That band that like people never shut up about, but you never check them out or whatever. But I love Fugazi. So good.
Oh,
There's a podcast. It's the A to Z to Fugazi. It's Fuga A to Fugazi. The A to Z of Fugazi. It's just one of the, every song from Fugazi I freaking love, but it's one of those podcasts where there's an episode about every song. So I'm always like, a new episode, stop everything, going to go listen to the song. I'm going to come back and listen to the podcast about the song and then go through all 90 whatever episodes there are of that. So I've been binging that as well.
Love that. I love that.
So unsubscribe from us losers, and go and check out those better shows.
These new up-and-comers who have a format that makes sense, that is not timely to the thing that has to happen every few weeks. My last shout-out is to these great viewing times to Formula One. More Sunday evening races for me, thank you, please. I was anti all the races being in the Americas. I am now pro this. Put them on all the American cities every week.
Love that for you.
Let's call it.
Yeah,
and see.
I'm going to do this. Thanks for listening. Stay subscribed. Until next time, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
Talk to you. And whatever the next race is.
Bye. Oh, yeah. Shit. We missed it.
Did we? Sort of.